Hello, and welcome to the Finding Florence podcast. Over the next 20 or so minutes, you'll hear a phone call between my sister Amber and me where we talk about our grandmother, Florence, and all the things we wish we knew, the things we know, and the things we're hoping to learn while doing this podcast. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Hey, Emski.
Hey.
How you doing, sis?
Good. What's up?
So, we know why we're here.
Yes.
What are we talking about?
Well, our grandmother, Florence, who I think is her life is such a mystery. So,
Yes. And we're trying to put together some of the pieces and make sense of it for ourselves and our family, right?
yes.
Why do you think we are talking about this now?
I don't know. I think for me, I feel like as I've gotten older and I've become a mother, I have older kids now. I think about, we know about her life and her marriage and her, her having lots of children and, having children in that day and age and being poor as they were. I just can't, it's baffling how she did it. I just don't know how she did it because as a mother, I have two children and I feel like it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're both moms now, and knowing what we know about having children, actually giving birth to children, and then raising them, and all the things that come with that, from a daily mental load perspective, from a financial perspective, and just being there for your children, period. And having that 19 times, it sounds impossible.
So impossible.
Right?
Yes.
And I think in this current climate that we're in when it comes to women's rights and their right to control what happens to their bodies, it's the story of Florence is kind of put into a different perspective for me. Anyway, I just wonder. I wonder how, the time that she lived in, which was before Roe v. Wade was ever a thing. How did that affect her? Do we know if she actually wanted to have those pregnancies all of those times? That comes into question for me a lot now.
Absolutely. Even if she considered it and she got pregnant again and she said to herself, oh my gosh, I can't do this again. Did she have the option? Right. She didn't even have the option. It was hard back. I mean, it was different back then.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so she just had to, she had to go through it. And that makes me sad.
Me too. Really. And like we were saying earlier about what we now know, it feels like to be a mother and all the changes that happen to you. There had to have been some mental health challenges that she faced.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, postpartum depression. I mean, speaking for myself, I know I dealt with it with Ryan. And she did this 19 times. There's no way that she did not experience some type of postpartum. But she just kind of, what was she going to do? I mean, there was no, and back then there wasn't, it's not like it is now where you can talk to your doctor about it, talk to a therapist about it. You just had to just deal with it and keep going.
Especially in the Black community, that was probably not even a consideration. And like you said earlier, there was poverty to contend with. So
Mm-hmm.
they were, as a family, facing that head on, which was its own struggle, like
Struggle.
on a day to day, minute to minute basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
think you know, for both of us, being that we never knew her, we never met her, there's this mystery, like you said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and we like hear these little stories and snippets of parts of her life from our aunts and uncles, her children,
Yep.
and we try to make sense of it, but there's nothing like a grandparent. And I have to say, not having any grandparents growing up, especially her, when I see, like, I've seen friends or people, actually, someone I know a little bit older than me, their grandmother just died like the other day. And so he's had his grandmother his whole life. He doesn't have
Yeah.
children, but if he did, his children would have known her. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, I feel a little jealousy. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's so
I've
nice.
always I agree. I've always felt a little envious of people that have their grandparents, and because I see even some of my friends who still have their grandparents around, and they have holidays with them, and they've done things with them, and uh yeah, they've been in their lives all their
Mhm.
lives since they were kids, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of I'm just kind of I'm a little envious.
Yeah,
I've always been a little envious of that. I wish I had that.
me too.
Wish I had that.
And so here we are trying to to fill the void, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly because there's this like yearning to understand the mystery of Florence and
Hmm.
how did she live in I don't know, how did she live like that?
Yeah.
It's still, even though this is our family story, it's still very shocking to even know that she had that many children and only lived for 44 years or something. And I think she died when she was that age. So she lived a short
Definitely.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I guess it's just something that we want to try to make sense of, right?
Yeah. Well, we can try.
Yeah.
We can try.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've always, I think about that a lot though. I think about, I guess, I don't know. I guess I think about her. I think about her random times. Do you like?
Mhm.
Do you think that you think about her more often, or do you think that you're thinking about her now because of what we're doing, or so? Have you thought about her a lot?
I have. I mean, I've been thinking about her since I became a young woman.
Yeah.
Like in my, when I started dating and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think there's this twofold for me because our parents decided to give me her name as my middle name for some reason.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Both her and my other grandmother who I never met, and so I always think about both of them. I think because of that, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
they're part of my name. When I write it down, or when I've had to write it down or tell people what my middle name is, then I'm like, oh, I have two middle names, and this is who
Yeah.
they are. And so, in that sense, she is on my mind a lot and has been for most of my life. But when I became a young woman, I thought about her even more because of the relationship she had and the relationships that I have entered. Uh, and I wonder, like, the parallels between the choices I had made and hers. Trying not
Yeah.
to be judgmental or to say too much, but it seems that that relationship pretty much consumed her life in the sense that she had 18 children with
Mm-hmm.
this guy, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like it wasn't the healthiest of relationships. Let's just say that.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, like, was she in a loving relationship?
I think it's safe to say no, right? Well,
Yes.
we can explore
Hmm.
and find out, but probably not.
No.
Um, and
No.
so that, I guess in that sense, I do think about her as it relates to me and the woman that I am. And
Hmm.
sometimes we think that like the women that came before us kind of leave an imprint on us, even if we never met them.
I know.
No,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
And
she's part of us. I
mhm.
mean, her blood runs through our veins.
I
You
heard
know.
this thing once. This is kind of weird, but I don't know if it's true. It might be true. It was like some biology thing where like the egg that created you was in your grandmother. So
Really?
like in her womb or whatever, like where is that? Oh God, I sound dumb, but like wherever the egg lives, um, it starts in your grandmother, and then like that becomes a part of your mother,
Hmm.
and then so like you still have like traces of your grandmother's DNA, which is it comes from like
Interesting.
that. Yeah. I need to get
Interesting.
like an actual source for that.
Yeah.
I'm about to Google
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 Just Google. Um, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just
What about you?
when I think when you say that, like like when I think of her, I just want to know, do I like her
Mm-hmm.
in any way? Like, do I have any of her traits? Because I never met her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
So
mean, based on the little anecdotes people have described her personality to us, people being our aunts and uncles, our mother, like she we know her general disposition might like be a certain
I
way. Yeah.
yeah, calm.
Mhm.
Well, what I've heard is just quiet,
Mhm.
very quiet, very soft spoken.
Right.
Um, I'm not soft spoken, I don't think.
No, you can
So
be.
I don't have that.
It
But
depends. It depends on the company that's
yeah,
around you.
that's true. That's true. It depends on who I'm around.
Okay, I found it on Google, by the way. It
Yeah.
said, "Did you know that your grandmother carried you inside her womb because a female fetus is born with all the eggs she will ever have in her lifetime? So when your grandmother was carrying your own mother in her womb, you were a tiny egg in your mama's ovaries. So, because as a
Wow.
woman, you're born with all of your eggs.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, huh? So we were
That
we
is.
were a part of Florence, Amber. That's kind of crazy.
That's cool. I mean, it is crazy, but wow.
So we're
Where
connected.
was where did you what source is that?
Okay, I don't know. It's on Instagram.
Okay.
I think it's true. I'm gonna think it's true. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
it does.
It does
Sounds
make
right.
sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. We was talking to our brother Youssef
Mhm.
about this. We were talking briefly with him about it.
Mhm.
And I think that I feel like we all have the same we all have the same like story
Mhm.
about her, of what we've heard.
Mhm.
You know, it's kind of like not a wives' tale. It's just
Mhm.
kind of like, just what our mom or our aunts and uncles have told us. And that's
Right.
what we basically have to go by.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense to just state. I want to say who I think she was in the most basic sense.
Yeah.
I think that Florence was once a young woman who uh, just cared deeply for her family,
Hmm.
um, and showed her children that she loved them. Because I think the main thing we got from every aunt and uncle and our mother that was that she loved them. They knew that.
Yeah.
She let that be known, which I think is beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, she had a whole bunch of children, and
Yes.
she likely had a difficult life.
Yeah.
Yeah, difficult in the sense of day-to-day living was probably challenging. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
and it and
Yeah.
I hate to say it in this way, but I think it ultimately is what took her life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle was too much. I remember reading this thing once saying like stress is like the biggest killer of black women or something because
Mm-hmm.
it turns into physical, like the stress can cause like
Physical.
autoimmune.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like autoimmune issues or kind of like chronic diseases and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the story of how she passed. We don't need to go into it, but um,
Right.
like
Right.
that is clear that what came into play was her lifestyle, having
Mm-hmm. Of
to raise
course.
children, so many children, and all
Her.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And her body. I mean, she was constantly pregnant and
Hmm.
giving birth. That's a toll on your body. And you know, we're also talking about, the 50s, 60s, back when,
Started in the
w-
40s too.
in the 40s.
Hmm.
What
Like
kind of
three
medical
decades.
care? What kind of medical care were they really getting back then?
Exactly, especially as a black woman who was
Right.
poor.
Yes. You just had that baby and you're out of there.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, and like what was I would love to know. Maybe we should look into this. Like when did postpartum become like a thing that was studied by
Right. Oh yeah.
doctors
Yeah.
after you know
Yeah. They
postpartum
wasn't done
depression?
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
like were
Exactly.
they aware of that? Like I don't know. I
Hmm.
guess we could find out. But
Yeah, we can look that up.
yeah.
But yeah. And I think of so what I think when I think of her life, and I don't. It makes me sad because I don't think that. I think that she obviously it was a tough life that she
Mhm.
lived.
Mhm.
Um, and was she obviously I know she loved her kids tremendously. I know she loved them,
Mhm.
but the fact that she probably couldn't provide for them the way she wanted to provide for them, and how sad she probably was. And
Mhm.
I just remember a story that our mother told us that she was just always like sitting in the window, looking out the window.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's how I see her all the time in my
yeah,
mind. I always see
yeah.
her like longing, like looking out of
Hmm.
a window, thinking about what could be,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and I can't I can't imagine that she was happy,
Mhm.
and makes me sad. But
Mhm.
if she was here
Mhm.
today, or I mean, obviously she would be very old if she was here today. But no,
Yes. Yeah.
if she didn't pass away so young and we got to meet her and
Yeah.
and everything, just how everyone's life
Yeah,
would have
because
been different.
I mean, she would have been relatively young for a grandmother for us,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because like
Hmm.
she was in her 40s when you were born. She would have
Right.
been in her 40s still.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's kind of young for a grandmother.
That's
So,
young. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like that if she had lived a healthy longer life, how
Hmm.
different that would have been for our parents,
Yeah.
us,
Yep.
our children.
Yep.
It would have been probably
It would
a
definitely would
lot of
have
different outcomes.
had a lot of different outcomes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And so I just want to say today is December 8th, 2024. In a few days, on the 12th, we will be reaching Florence's would have been her 99th birthday. Some people live that long.
I know.
That would have been pretty cool. And next
Yeah.
year she would have been 100.
Hmm.
So as we're approaching her birthday, we're doing this a little bit, I would say, I think, in honor of her, a celebration of her. If she were here, what do you think you would say to her? You want me to go first?
That's a good question. Yeah, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah. I think I would just say thank you. And that I love her. I think it would be easy to love her. I feel like it would be easy to love her based on what we know.
Yeah.
And thanking her for our lives, because if not for her, we wouldn't be here. And I would just ask her. I would want to know. I would have so many questions. I would just ask her everything.
Me too.
Like,
Yeah.
why did you have so many children?
Yeah.
That's the first question.
Yes. I have so many questions.
I would say, like, our mother is one of the older of the children. But if she didn't decide to have all those kids, some of us wouldn't be here. So this is like a thing to contend with. Like, okay,
I know it's hard. Yeah, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
I know that. I don't doubt that. I think I probably would, if I could talk to her and ask her questions. Or just just talk to her. I think I would say thank you as well, and that I love her, and that and I would ask her, like, were you happy? I just want to know if she was happy. I don't think she was. I don't think she was.
I know.
Were you happy? And what did you want? This is my biggest question, most important question. What were your dreams? What did you want to do with your life?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it wasn't to have 19 children.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And living in poverty. And I just want to know what her hopes and dreams were. So bad.
Me too.
That would be my number one question.
Those are great.
Well, after I said I love you and all that stuff.
Yes. But those are wonderful questions. Are you happy? And what were your hopes and dreams? Maybe we can like make some up as we go on. Like, I mean, I always envision what I would imagine, like to the point where I would like make up a story about what was in her head. But yeah, those are great.
Well, she was beautiful, a beautiful woman.
Yes, let's get to that.
Like
beautiful, gorgeous.
Did she want to be a model?
Drop dead,
no,
gorgeous,
right?
Yeah, like truly, we're not being biased here. Like,
right? Yeah,
she's objectively gorgeous woman, right?
Right. Yeah.
Our grandfather definitely like was getting more than he deserved from her.
Yeah. She was out of his league.
Out of his league.
You know.
Like what?
He was like, what? How did I get her? So, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we can just wrap up unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
I think this is a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good start. And I just want to, our next chat, I just want to kind of explore what did we think her hopes and dreams were?
And was she happy?
Was she happy? And, things like that.
Why did things go this route?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess we can wrap up and say that we're going to continue to explore and find Florence.
Finding Florence.
Finding Florence and ourselves in the process.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'll just say happy birthday, Florence. Happy birthday, Grandma.
Florence. Grandma. I know. Also, that's another thing. What will we have called? Will we be calling her Grandma?
I know, right? I don't even know how that feels to say
Nana.
Grandma. Oh, I guess we would say Nana because that's what we do. And
right? Nana.
Oh my God. To have a Nana.
I know, right?
Oh. All right. Bye, Amps.
Bye.